Hello and welcome to another YouTube video. In today's video, I want to talk about, and that's what's coming through for me to share, about people-pleasing tendencies and weight gain and how these two go together. I know that some people are kind of like, oh, how can this even be affecting your health and your weight? And they always tell me that I have a very interesting point of view, but I want to remind everyone who is watching this video that I take a very holistic approach to mind, body, spirit, and I do not separate what affects the body in terms of like what the food that you're eating can affect also your mental health and vice versa. Like your tendencies, your patterns can affect your eating behaviors. And that's something that I've seen with myself, but also with, I would say, the majority of my clients. They really don't get to that point until we start working together. And then I'm like, okay, but do you see that when we go into this topic, when you don't set up your rules or your boundaries, then it kind of suppresses this part of you. So let me get straight into this. Is the conversation that we're going to be having today. But don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you like this type of content. And don't forget to either subscribe to my newsletter by going onto my website and or follow me on other social media platform, because something very important is happening. I am gathering my spiritual community, and I want for you guys to come on live and ask me questions. I want you guys to find the support that you all need to talk about spiritual weight loss, spiritual awakening, intuition development, and all of that, and to get nurtured, because one of the key, I would say, like part of my being is to be part of a tribe. And for so long, I felt alone. I felt different. I mean, I'm an empath and I'm also highly sensitive. So if you feel like that, don't forget to follow me and subscribe to my newsletter, because I'm going to tell all of those details in the newsletter about when it's launching and the calls that we're going to have together and all of that. So make sure that you do that. But let's get started. Okay, I want to start with the principle of mind, body, and spirit. So according to Indian medicine called Ayurveda, you cannot separate your body from your mind, from your spirit, your soul, because I'm going to break this down for you. Again, the food that you're eating today, whether you believe this or not, okay? I studied this, I felt it, but the food that you're eating, the foods that you're eating have a vibration. That vibration impacts your vibration. Okay, so think about eating fast food, processed foods, restaurant foods, I don't know, frozen foods that have no like life force in them, if you know what I mean, all the time. I mean, every time I go on vacation and I eat out, I feel like crap most of the time, and I need to order soups or something like very light, because I do enjoy when I cook my food. I enjoy that I choose my ingredients, and I enjoy the intentions and the energy that I put in those ingredients, but also I keep my diet clean because I know that it affects my energy, okay, and my body. According to this Ayurvedic medicine, this Indian medicine, the food also has an energetic property and affects your mental health. So certain foods can either improve your improve in terms of like decrease your anxiety or depression, or can accelerate the process, can actually make you feel more anxious if you don't do certain things. And that's what I teach in my signature program. But that's why we cannot separate one from the other. Vice versa. Think about you being emotional. Think about you having a breakdown, getting fired from a job, or just having miscommunication with a partner, or breaking up with a partner or spouse. Think about that. I mean, I'm sure that you felt it at some point in your life. I felt it too. I mean, your emotional being, I would say, is needing a lot of nourishment in that stage of your life. Therefore, if we don't take care of that, that affects how you're going to eat. Because think about it, when you have a breakup, people don't, either they don't want to eat and they, honestly, their stomach closes up, or they have the opposite, which is they binge on sugar, because sugar, it's kind of like an attachment to love most of the time and comfort. So we see those two patterns. So think about that. So example, if you're having a binge eating kind of pattern, if you're having emotional eating, your path is going to be the emotional route, the healing route. Okay. And that's why in my spiritual weight loss program, it's either going to be nutrition, but most of the time it's emotional or spiritual. And when I say spiritual, it's when your soul is calling. Your soul is always letting you know when you are walking the path of alignment and when you're going out of alignment. So, which means when you are going against the current and you're forcing something, the soul is going to let you know, usually through the body. The soul is always speaking through the body. Okay. This is what I need you guys to know, because now we're going to talk about people-pleasing tendencies. Y'all know what people-pleasing tendencies are, right? Like not able to say no, or feeling like when you say no, you feel guilty and then you feel ashamed. Like there is a whole cycle of emotions when you've been living in the people-pleasing tendency all of your life. And I can tell by the experience, personal experience, the experience that I have with my clients, that you probably have been nurtured through some kind of guilt trip or shameful trip all of your life. If you're in this boat, because otherwise you would have strong boundaries. And what happens? We've been living a life pleasing others because we were taught that in order to feel loved, in order to receive love, we needed to do what someone wanted us to do. Okay? Hey, do your homework and then I'm going to love you. Hey, clean up and then we're all good and I'm not going to get mad and all of that. And it can get worse. And we know where that path can lead us. Okay, and then exactly, I was saying it, just my phone earplug dropped out of my ear. Funny story. But okay, let's go back to that part of you not knowing that there is a healthier path for you to stand in your truth, say no, because you're afraid. Honestly, this is what's going on. You're so afraid that if you say no, they're not going to love you anymore. And you're so afraid, therefore, to be so lonely. Okay? You're just so paralyzed in fear because you've been taught that loneliness is a bad feeling. Okay? What if I told you now that there are no negative emotions, that emotions are neutral, and that you just need to accept all of them? Would that make a difference to you in this moment? Because when I started understanding that emotions are just neutral, and whether it's fear or discomfort, they're just letting me know what I need to pay attention to in that moment, I started detaching and from my emotion, and I started to detaching from like embodying the emotion. And I'm like, okay, I'm seeing this is showing up for a reason. Therefore, what is that I need to heal? What is that I need to see? So most of us that are people pleaser, that have been people pleasing tendencies, we are afraid to say no. Okay. Then what do? We take on more responsibilities, take on more of the, could be emotional baggage. Like saying yes to a friend that for years calls you and talks about herself or himself all the time, that's taking on emotional baggage here. That's taking on more than what it's even yours, because this person has not learned to handle that by him or herself. And it's okay to be there and support a friend, don't get me wrong. But I'm talking about like the extension of 1, 2, 3, 4 years of this person just taking from you. And you staying on the phone and not being able to say, hey, I've got to go. And I see this all the time. And it could be with a friend and it could be with a family member. I have a client who, before we started working together, she's been living a life like taking care of her older sister and taking her calls more than once per week. And those calls were draining to her, but she couldn't say no. And the people-pleasing tendencies, when you say no, this is the whole like meat of the story here, you take on more. We all got that. That could be physical. You take on more emotional, spiritual baggage. But what does that do? That puts you stress. That puts stress on your emotional, physical, mental body, right? And physical, when I talk about physical, let's just say that you have kids with your spouse and you're the only one taking care of the kids. That's physical. Like, not just emotional and spiritual, but also like taking care of caretaking. That's very a physical job. I know I'm a mom of 2, single mom of 2. I know what caretaking means. I know what it means to be there for someone, and just physical, like, hey, I'm changing your diaper and let's go. I've got to cook for you and I've got to do this for you, and out of love, but you get me, right? Okay. So this baggage, this weight, let's call it weight. I like it, weight. Puts stress on your body. What happens? People respond in a very different way. Some people that do not know how to release these emotions, this weight, they tend to eat. Maybe you find yourself emotionally eating these days, or identifying yourself with emotional eater. Just so you know, when you identify yourself with emotional eater, that doesn't mean that it's going to be for the rest of your life. It's going to be there until you learn how to process and release the emotions. But do you understand how people pleasing, taking on more, shows up in their reality as a form of like a behavior? And therefore, I'm going to eat ice cream because I'm so stressed out. I need like something to help me release my nerves, relax, feeling good, and all of those hormones that are playing a vital role in our emotions and mood. And so do you understand? Or another person could choose a different escaping route, a different behavior, which could be like, hey, I'm having a glass of wine every night. But in the course of like 1 year, 2 years, your liver cannot filter all of that alcohol. And then when the liver can't filter, obviously it creates health issues and also weight gain and health issues. I said that. Do you understand how this works? Let me know in the comments if this makes sense. Another thing that I see is when you can't say no, you have lack of boundaries. Therefore, your soul talks to you all the time, just so you know. And it comes through the physical body in form of like some kind of pain or inflammation. So whenever I'm like, something is hurting, that it's not normal, I sit there and I'm like, this is not normal. Like, what's been happening? Oh, I don't have boundaries with my work schedule recently, and I have been on the computer for longer hours, like 10 hours a day. Therefore, this lack of boundary is affecting me spiritually, emotionally, and physically. And my body started to like shoot and scream out with shooting pain. And I do pay attention. And I'm encouraging you to really look deep down into yourself and ask yourself, what are the areas in which I'm not setting boundaries? Believe me, I had to go through all of them. I had no boundaries in relationships. I would lose myself in that relationship, but also in the relationship with my parents and family members and friends. I didn't have boundaries in love. I didn't have boundaries with like my business, and I'm getting better at that. But before I didn't. And I'm learning that affects my whole being. Okay, so that's it. That was a longer video, but I hope this was helpful. So again, comment, follow, like this video, and yeah, I'll see you in the next.